Well, it began with a straddle injury that smashed about 1.5 inches of my urethra while I was building a house in Idlewild, California. We called a local doctor, and he came and recognized that it was a serious problem and recommended that I go to emergency room in LA, which we did that night. There was bleeding at the, that was coming out of the penis at that time. Well, the process was trying to figure out whether they could reopen the urethra, but that was not a viable solution, so they ended up having to go through reconstructive surgery. And I went through a number of operations for reconstructive surgery, including skin graft. Well, it was a pretty painful and uncomfortable experience, and it was just, you had to be rather patient to go through the various stages of the operations to get squared away. But the main thing that followed the reconstructive surgery after that was completed was a series of strictures that went on for a number of years, and that was almost one per year, sometimes two per year, and they were mostly emergency situations regarding having hospital stays, so it was a long, drawn-out experience. Well, I guess the toughest part was just going through the long years of having stricture after stricture and being discouraged with it. That was a tough part, dealing with it, because it seemed like it was going to be endless. Well, fortunately, I had a very supportive wife, and she took me to the hospitals and brought me home and did all the driving and took good care of me in the process through all of these surgeries, which probably totaled something like 20 surgeries all from the time from beginning to end. One of the desperation solutions was to install a urethral stent, and that turned out to be a failure, and so when that failed, the doctor recommended that I see Dr. Joel Gelman, who was a stricture specialist at UCI Medical Center. And he surveyed the situation and decided that he could successfully remove the stent and hopefully put me back to normal. And so it was scheduled, and this stent was removed in a long, about 6.5, 7-hour surgery and about a 5-day hospital stay. And since that time, I've had no strictures. I've had most of my plumbing problems are just about absolutely normal. And I'm eternally grateful to Dr. Gelman for his skill and knowledge. So I have a lot of respect for him personally, and I consider him a friend.